send Jesus Christ on the Son, or on the cross. Verse 13. And so faith, hope, love abide. And there's a big description, and I would like to read that. Faith, conviction, and belief respecting man's relation to God. Listen to this. And divine things, hope, joyful and confident expectation of eternal salvation. Love, true affection of God and man. Growing out of God's love for and in us. Growing out of God's love for and in us. Affection for other people. Growing in us as a fruit of the Spirit, Paul is saying. And if that's not the case, then tough luck. These three, but the greatest of these is love. He's saying faith, hope, but love. Love is the greatest. Greater than our faith. Why? Because for us to even have faith in the first place, we need to be loved by God. Amen? See, some of us may be sitting here and saying, well, you know what, preacher, I'm not with you. Paul was only an apostle, right? Fine. Amen, I'm with you as well. He was only an apostle. Let us critically analyze and let us question Paul's, Did Jesus make such a claim? Yes, he did. Let me take you to Jesus then, if you don't believe in Paul. John chapter 13, verses 34 to 35. Now, this is a chapter where things are coming to an end. Jesus is sitting with his disciples. He's just washed their feet, right? Washing of the feet, there are so many interpretations, but I believe that he just wanted to give them an example of love. That when you love someone, you put aside everything. You put aside who you are, your personality, your status, your level, and you become same with others, or even lower than others. The humility of love. And then he goes on, and of course, he's having the Last Supper there, and it's like, to me, it's like, he's saying, look, I know you've heard my Sermon on the Mount. I know you've heard this. I know you've seen me doing miracles. You've been doing miracles yourself. But look, a new command. I just want to give you one new command. Just one thing. I'm just going to simplify the whole Christianity for you. In other words, Jesus is saying. There's one thing that you need to know. Just one thing. A new command I give you. Love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, all men will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. Look at our own lives this morning and judge yourself. Do you love the fellow person that you're sitting next to? You may do perhaps only in words, but do you do that in action? Is the question. He simplified it all together for them. They said, look, forget about everything. If you want to remember one thing, just remember this. Love one another. I'll prove it further. That it's not the only time Jesus talked about this. Matthew chapter 22, 34 to 39. Here's a scholar. Here's a scholar coming and questioning Jesus as well. You see? Hearing that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees and the Pharisees got together. One of them, an expert in the law, the one who knew the whole Old Testament inside out, comes and questions Jesus. Like we tested Paul, and then we go to Jesus, and there's someone who's actually questioning Jesus. Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, exactly the same, of the same level. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. And if we look at the same story in Luke, we won't read it, Luke takes it further. He talks about that the Pharisee in return, the scholar of the law, asked Jesus, but who is my neighbor? Well, come on, you know. He was asking the right question. If you look in a detached house, you got no one on your right or your left, who's your neighbor? But let us not be foolish like him. Your neighbor and my neighbor is the one who needs our love and affection. And then Jesus goes on and tells him the story. Can someone tell me what was that story? The story of the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan. You see, but the problem that we have as Christians is this, that so many times we all want to be the beaten up guy and ask for help, you know. That's the problem. Yes, you know, you need to be a good Samaritan to me. I need your help. I am the wounded one. I am the one who is in need of affection. And so many times, even though we know that we are the one who's supposed to be the good Samaritan to others, but we judge others and say, well, you show me love. You do the things that I need in my life. Help me out in this problem. I need help more than you. Another grievous mistake, a grievous mistake that we make, even being Christian. And I said apologies for being judgmental, but we do make this mistake, you know. And it's in Matthew chapter 5, verses 43 to 46. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends his rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. And here comes the bold point. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing this? She's saying, is not the sinners following the same principle? And be honest, most of the times we do prioritize over family, prioritize over perhaps even other Christians more than the sinners. When it comes to giving, helping someone, and we see, well, I know this person, I know him, let me help him first. Don't we? If you don't, then you must be the perfect person sitting here. But I know that there is a tendency to show favoritism even in love to others. We go and reach out to the family and we quote all the other scriptures and we say, well, you know, yes, I know church, yes, I know the church people, then we prioritize family over the church. And when it comes to sinners, well, no, well, you know, my brothers and sisters in the church need my help first, so let me go and help them first. You know, even outside, even if it's not your relative or a church member, the person that you know, well, you may want to invite them to your wedding and forget about everyone else, you know. Just because they can't give you better gifts. So you see, it's like a give and take type of thing that we do a lot of the times. We go out for dinners, those who can invite us back for dinners. And Pastor Mike, what a wonderful name for the Love Ministry Week. It really nails it down. It's a love ministry to those who can't love you back. It's the best name, better than Sinner for Dinners. You know, so it's the best name that we could come up with. It's a love ministry week. Show some love. Irregardless that the person want to believe in Jesus Christ or not, show some love to them. One of the mistakes that we make in evangelism,